Welcome back to Strength, Strategy, and Mindset, the Bridge to Mastery. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. It's lunch hour here, and I am taking a break from being inside. I was actually sitting at my desk working through lunch and decided that today was not going to be one of those days. We've not had a walking episode in a while, and so here I am coming back out, and we're going to just walk around the campus here and get back to some of our paths that we've been doing over the course of our walking 100-day walk to consistency. One of the things that we're dealing with this week is we're talking about focus. Focus. That's the goal. And if you saw our show, our flagship show, Monday night, Dwain Woode MD Live, that was what we introduced. And we're transitioning from the Play Your Own Game series into the Blueprint series in the Q4. And the idea of this week and the next several weeks is to have a bridge, just like we're having a bridge right now. We're bridging from our strength, strategy, and mindset into our next series that's coming up. So by the way, pay attention to that. And it is with the intention of saying, how do I take some of the things that we've learned, some of the things that we have been doing, and how do we implement those now? I'm walking over this way so I don't get the music from that car that's just passing by. How do we implement those and install them as permanent fixtures in our lives so that it's not a constant challenge for us to maintain consistency? One of the interesting concepts that we'll talk about is this idea that there are so many things that we do in our lives, so many items that we try, so many things that we begin that we don't finish. But coming to the health space, it is not uncommon for us to have people trying things over and over and over. And the question is always why, if we have the motivation, if we have the drive, if we have even sometimes the know-how, why do we not maintain? And one of the things that we're talking about now is focus. And so focus is that idea that I'm singularly concentrating on a point to the exclusion of distraction. And that may seem as though it's extreme, but focusing, that's what focusing is. One of my favorite, and I talk about my love for sci-fi and my love for superheroes, but one of my favorite ideas, or one of my favorite memories, I should say ideas, was I remember when Clark Kent was developing his skills, right? He's learning about his powers, and he had not yet developed the X-ray vision, and he had not yet developed the heat vision, but he had, he gotten the strength and some of the others. And one of the various incarnations of the show, someone said to him, well, all you got to do is concentrate. And so he concentrated and focused those eyes, and he could see through things all of a sudden. Or he concentrated and he could set things on fire. And that was the idea with his X-ray vision and the heat vision, that you could, by focusing, then you can have these abilities. Now in our lives, right, if you remember as a kid growing up, one of the fun things I used to do is, you get a magnifying glass and you'd hold it over a piece of paper, and if you focused that beam of light, then you could start a fire. At least you could start some smoke. I don't know, do they do that anymore? Or is that like, anyway, that's, see, I was going to go down another path. But that's one of the things that we did, one of the things that happened. So the focus allows you to bring to bear the power of the light to start the fire. And when it comes to the focus in our lives, what we're doing is we're bringing to bear the power of everything that's in us. And so when we're focusing, what we're saying is, I am willing to bring to bear my concentration, bring to bear my talents, bring to bear my time, maybe my resources, and I'm going to finish strong. I'm going to go across the finish line. I'm going to finish what I started. I'm going to, and you could finish that sentence in lots of different ways, but essentially, I'm going to cross that line. This is not just going to be something that I have done, that I started, that's been going okay, maybe not going so well, and then I'm going to give up, right? So that's not something that's going to happen. And so this idea of focusing is there. Now, one of the things you've heard me say as we've gone through this week, and maybe even last week, was that, you know, at the beginning, there is the spark, there's the fire. That's the motivation that comes. That's the, you know, at the beginning of the race or beginning of the game, everybody is excited. People are tailgating maybe at your game, and you know everybody's coming in. They're getting their drinks and they're getting their food, and they're getting, you know, beginning of the show, you're getting the popcorn, whatever it is. That's great. And even as you get across the line, right, when your team wins, or the movie, you know, the climax of the movie, and you're now at the end, and you've seen how things are going to go, all that's great because people got the pictures, they got the cameras out. That middle part sometimes is a little challenging. I did a talk, a couple of years ago now, down in Birmingham, Alabama, at one of the churches, and it was called "I'm in the Middle." I'm in the middle. That's a whole concept that we can explore. But sometimes when we're in the middle, and as we get past that middle, and we're heading down the stretch, that last stretch, there are so many things that can begin pulling at us. And one of the reasons is, well, we get tired, we're fatigued, we've been at this for a while, and it's like, okay, do I have what it takes to get through? And you know, we talked on the show about self-doubt. We doubt our abilities, and because sometimes our history has not borne out the fact that we finish things, then we're liable to fall into that false story that we tell ourselves. Oh, you know, you always start this, you always try this, you always this, whatever the story is that we tell ourselves. And so I want to spend a couple minutes talking about that right now. When we're working out, as you've been following us, and we come in and we start with the arm twists, and we do the cross-body leg swings, and we get into the forward reaches, and we do our pelvic tilts, and we do the high knee marches, right? So beginning, right? So we're excited, we got there, and those things, oh yeah, we got that. Things are going well, right? So simple exercises. And then we get into some more intense things, right? So we start with the dumbbell presses, we got the seated knee extensions, we've got the curling presses. Now we're getting a little bit more intense. We got the squats, right? That full body workout. And if we're not careful, right there, right at that point, because we've done the beginning. Right now we're in the middle, and we're getting ready to head over into the last stretch, the last part, where we start now We're doing the hammer curls. We're doing the dead bugs. We're doing the stomach crunches. We're doing the knee, leg extensions. And it's getting close. It's getting close. And that tension, that burning, right, will show up, and we begin feeling that. And at this point, our muscles have been working. They've been going. And we begin to think, I don't know if I could do this. Am I able to make it through? I don't know if I can do 8. I don't know if I can do the 3 sets of 8. And over the last couple of weeks, last couple of episodes, we've actually shortened that a little bit to get a little shorter time. But the doubt that is there, we've proven now that we can take that and we can put that off somewhere else. You've been here for a long time. You've been here. You've been at this. The evidence is in, right? The jury has already spoken. They've given their verdict, and the verdict is that, yeah, I may have been like that in the past. I may have not had the capacity or the determination or the structure to be successful, but now that's no longer me. The me that's right here, this me is a new, improved version of myself. We did a series a couple of years ago called Building a New Version of Yourself, building a new you, essentially. And our platform right now, Limitless Living, is the tagline is powered by the new you. So I don't have to trust the old me. In fact, the old me has not proven that the old me is trustworthy. Come on. Let's the real talk, right? Real talk. So the old me was really like my brain tells me. The old me was unsure. The old me didn't have structure. The old me didn't have a rhythm, didn't know why. The old me didn't have alignment. So the behaviors that I did or I took, the decisions I made were not in keeping with where I want to go. So the old me, there was no reason for me right now to say I'm trusting that old me. Yeah, I'll be honest. Maybe for you, but for me, I understand why my brain says that. Wow. See, right now I'm making some connections too, right? I understand why my brain said that. In fact, as I'm talking about health, I understand why my brain said that for things that didn't relate to my health. In terms of this physical health, right? Now we talk about the domains of health, and you understand now that when we say health, we're not just talking about medical and those types of things. There are lots of different areas of health. But I understand why my brain would say, man, that old Dwain, I don't know if I could trust Dwain to do stuff. Because he capitulated before. He didn't follow through. He did not, he couldn't push through the tension. He couldn't push through the struggle. But this Dwain right here, this Dwain that's been walking 101 days to consistency and health, the bridge to mastery, the 100 days of strength, strategy, and mindset, the bridge to mastery. This Dwain that shows up, this Dwain that has structure, this Dwain that understands his why, this Dwain that has community. Oh, come on, this Dwain, I can trust this Dwain. And so when we're talking about focus, how does that come to bear? How does that bear out in this space? That means then that when I'm sitting on the bench and I'm pressing and I got the last 2 reps in the last set, I can say to myself, well, hey, I can do this. Maybe the old Dwain couldn't, but this new Dwain can, right? Because this new Dwain has a track record now. This new Dwain has a litany of things that he can rattle off that says, this is what I've done, right? Remember our I Can journal? And we've not talked about that in a little bit, but the I Can journal is designed so that at this very moment, when the inner critic says, hey, no, you never do it, you never fulfill, you never succeed, just stopping aside so the car can go by. The I Can journal, I can pull the I Can journal out and say, oh, wait a minute, I don't know what you're talking about. I can walk for 100 days. On top of that, I can do 100 days of strength, strategy, and mindset. On top of that, I can do the bridge to mastery. On top of that, I can push through. On top of that, I can't, right? So what you're doing is you're providing refuting evidence, irrefutable evidence for that matter, that this new person that you've designed, that you have grown into, this new person is, we do it. So how do we get focus as we push through, right? As we finish strong, we get focus because we now understand that this person that we've designed, this person that we have built, has the capacity, has the history, has the support to say that, yeah, I can do it now. I can do that. So I don't have to wonder. Good point here to be made. That focus sometimes gets broken because we wonder whether we can, right? So it's a decision we're making in our head. But I'm telling you now that the decision has already been made because of the history. You don't have to rehearse. You don't have to rethink. You don't have to redesign. The decision has already been made. One of the things that we talk about, and I won't get much into that right here because we've talked about it on the show, and is this idea of decision fatigue. If every time you've got to do something, you have to decide, right? Then the likelihood of you doing that thing goes down with each time you have to do that. Decision fatigue. If you are making decisions all the time, small decisions, when you have to make a big decision, then your brain is like, oh, I don't want to make one more. So this confidence, this self-efficacy that we talk about, the self-efficacy already said that this is who we are. I don't have to decide again whether this is who I am. It is who I am. It is how I roll. It is how I behave. And so coming down to the end, I don't have to think about that. And that is a space where all of your energies needs to be focused on getting across the line. And if you are dividing your energies between getting across the line, finishing strong, and deciding these things, then your energy is divided and we don't bring all of our energy to this. And what did we say focus was? Focus is singularly putting everything, all of our energies, to that single point. And so if I'm not doing that, if I'm divided among other thoughts in my head, then guess what? I'm not singularly putting all the energies there. As we continue this idea of finishing strong, it is setting us up for what we're going to be doing as we go into the future. Because if you think back to our journey so far, right? We first started with consistency, 100-day walk to consistency, and the idea was we're just building some evidence. You remember those first episodes that we did? We're just doing, right? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And after a while, we had such momentum behind us. Right? We had such momentum behind us that the momentum itself pushed us. That the idea that, man, I've done Yeah, I want you to think back. If you've not done this yet, I want you to go back and I want you to watch those episodes. As we got to day 25, day 1, day 25, we got to day 50. Remember we did that celebration, 100-day walk to consistency and health? Got to 50, and then we're pushing through, now 75. And I think around 75 was that when we were in London or Paris? One of those places. And we're pushing through. And we're pushing through those things, and now we've got the strength of the momentum behind us to push us. And so no longer did we have to rely solely on us showing up just because, right? So we had all this power behind us pushing us, and that's where we are right now. The decision to go forward is not based on whether you can. You've already proven that. That's a given. That's not a variable anymore. And focus, your focus is all about, let me put all of my energies into this space. Let me be present right here. Let me bring all of my resources right here. And if I can do that, then finishing strong, yeah, and focusing, oh yeah, that becomes much more achievable, much more simply done, because everything in me now is pushing me in that direction. And so I want to make sure that you understand that we're no longer trying stuff, we're now living stuff. We've tried. We tried this, we tried that. No, now we already have a structure. We have a way of thinking and evaluating where we are, evaluating where we're going to go, evaluating what we have to do. And it's not a matter of can we anymore, because we know we can. At least this version of me can. This version of Dwayne, this version of whatever your name is, right? This version can. Maybe the old version, we had some doubts, but not now, not right now. And so my focus is saying to me, let's bring it. Let's bring my A game. Let's bring all that I have left. Let's put it right here, because we're getting ready to cross this finish line. We're finishing strong. And finishing strong, understand, means that we are achieving the goal that we have set as we've played our game, as we have put into place the structures that we needed to. Now you're coming along, and right now you're joining us. Maybe you're joining us for the first time. You're like, man, they are so far ahead of us, or so far ahead of me. I don't know if I can catch up. They've been doing this for a while. They've been at this for a while. It's never too late to start. Right? So it's never too late to start. And that was a huge premise of play your own game, because you're playing your game where you are. I don't have to. I'm going to pause here because I hear some noise over there. I'm going to go back this way. I don't have to play it your way. We're heading to the same places. Long, healthy life. That's what we want, right? We want to minimize complications. We want to take charge of our health and our lives. That's where we're heading. How we get there can be different. When we get there can be different. And so that is that whole play your own game. But as we push through these last miles, as we push through this last stretch to get to where we need to be, oh yeah, we're bringing everything. Wherever you find yourself, whether it's a fasting or walking or strength training or mental mastery or rest and recovery and restoration, any of those, right now, we're bringing everything we have, and our focus is right there. This is not a, I'm gonna grin and bear it focus. This is not a, oh, let me hold on for dear life focus. This is not a, oh man, I really just gotta get through this focus. This is a, process that we are putting in place that will be our way of focusing, that will be the way that we go, that will be how we are. It's not a thing where, okay, this is how I want to be, but we've already put the things in place. We put the structure in place that allows us to do what we need to do so we can be successful. Yeah? And so we're heading back now. So we did a lap. You guys may have recognized some of where we were from our previous series. And this is just now the campus of where I am. Now, an interesting story to tell you. So on Sunday, we woke up to a call from the hospital that said, hey, the water heater in your suite burst. And we got a call from, we're on the 3rd floor, and we got a call from the folks on the 1st floor that there was a leak. And so that tells you how much water there had to have been, so that it went from our suite on the 3rd floor down to the 2nd floor and went through the 2nd floor to the 1st floor. Yeah. And so this week I wasn't quite sure what that meant for our week in terms of seeing patients, in terms of what we needed to do, the damage that was there. I came in Sunday night and they had the shop vacked up and the carpet was wet and there were some other things that had been damaged. And so we talked to our team and we said, hey, we're not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. And we decided, right, after I came in, my wife and I came in, we looked around, we said, hey, we can do this, right? We got the fans blowing and, all that stuff. And of course, there's no hot water. And they're like, well, we don't know when we're going to get a water heater. And we came in and if you've heard me say before our mission statement, our practice exists to evaluate, treat, and educate patients with endocrine disorders. We desire to positively impact the health and quality of life of our customers. Our practice will be the premier endocrinology practice in North Alabama for results and customer satisfaction. We will use innovative technology to help our customers reach their goal. Our team members are valued and empowered to deliver efficient, caring, and compassionate service. And we say that. And so the question then, and the question we ask ourselves in lots of situations is, are our behaviors, our alignment, our behaviors consistent with who we say we are? And that's ultimately the question. Are the behaviors we do, are the decisions we make consistent with who we say we are? And if we can align what we do with who we say we are, then we are also able to push through to the end. We're able to finish strong because our why is solid. That's our rhythm. The behaviors, the choices, the decisions we make, they're solid. That's our alignment. And we have some things in place that doesn't rely on our motivation to get us through. And that's our structure. And so as we talk about finishing strong, rhythm, alignment, and structure, is that in place? You got to focus. A big part of focus is in believing in yourself, believing that you have the capacity. You've already proven that that's the case. Your ICANN journals tell you that that's the case, that you can do that. And so we're not worried anymore about whether we can, because we know we can. And that's what limitless living says, that I'm not allowing anything from outside, anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. I'm showing up with my best self, my best health, and my best plans. And I'm pushing through the boundaries, I'm pushing through the borders, I'm pushing through the obstacles so that I can be successful. And I'm so proud that I've been able to walk along with you as we've moved through this space, to see the benefits that you're getting, to see the results that you're having, and the successes that you're having in your life. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Now go live a limitless life, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next episode here of Strength, Strategy, and Mindset, the bridge to mastery. We'll see you later.